Copper Golem's got some big buffs as well as nerfs. Hello there, Ray here, and let's take a look at the brand new snapshot that just came out today, which is 25W35A, which is part of the fall drop that will be coming out probably sometime late next month. Let's see what these changes do when it comes to the automatic storage system. So guys, don't forget to leave a like and let's get into it. They changed Copper Golems once again, so if you look at their hitbox, they now made them slightly smaller so they can once again walk underneath of a 1 block area. Now they are exactly 0.98 blocks tall. And this is most likely done for a parity issue. As I pointed out on this post in my community tab, for those guys that have the bell notification turned on, you'll get to see these type of posts that I do. But in it, I talked about how Bedrock Edition recently had their Copper Golem fixed that I could actually fit underneath of 1 block spaces, where in Java Edition they did a poor fix where they were trying to stop the golem from glitching out underneath of certain blocks. So they instead just made it so Copper Golems can't go underneath the blocks by making them slightly taller. And because they try to keep Bedrock and Java Edition relatively the same, it meant that Java Edition would have to have their Copper Golem shrunken down just like Bedrock Edition, and they would actually have to fix this problem of Copper Golems getting stuck underneath of certain blocks, rather than just doing the poor fix of making them taller. They also kind of fixed the second concern when it comes to the Copper Golems and accessing chests, where in Bedrock Edition they made it so that they don't access chests that they can't see, where in Java Edition, where we have a similar problem, they just called it worked as intended, where Copper Golems were trying to access chests that were really below them or above them, which they wouldn't even be able to reach. And I do enjoy reading all your guys' comments that were really interesting and different insights, including other parity issues when it comes to Bedrock Edition and Java Edition. They actually fixed a bug that reported with the golem, which is the golems would not ever walk to the center of the block. Notice when this golem walks back and forth, he always walks a little bit to the side and never goes to the very center, therefore he can never reach this chest over here. So now they'll walk around properly so you can access chests on the sides. This means Copper Golems will no longer be able to access chests through solid walls, but they should now be able to access chests that are directly above them. Copper Golems will now check chests even if there is not 3 blocks of air above the chest, when before this would mess up their pathfinding so they would never use it. So now you can see the Copper Golem will move up to the chest and actually access the stuff inside them, as well as chests that are above them. This should overall improve Copper Golem's pathfinding in storage systems. But let me know what you think of these Copper Golem changes. Do you think there's something that the Copper Golem should do that they're not currently doing now, or do you think there's other bugs that should also be fixed with them? Copper Golems will now be a bit smarter when it comes to trying to avoid damage when going to chests. Leads will now remove the AI from Copper Golem, so they will no longer attempt to go into chest while they're on it. They fix a bug with Copper Golems. When these guys would freeze into the actual blocks, they would then be able to be detected by comparators, but these comparators wouldn't update properly when this conversion happened. So now I can detect when they convert to blocks properly, and now my Copper Golem farm will actually work in Java Edition. In the past, if you would summon in a Copper Golem, it would place this chest beside another chest. It could cause some weird glitched out stuff, but now you can see what happens is that it will automatically connect to a nearby one, and it will convert the type to the same as the one that you placed in with your block. So you can use this as a way to kind of convert nearby chests, as well as a similar problem in the Bedrock Edition preview. It will also no longer leave chests open if you would kill them while they're open sometimes. Now when Copper Golems will have poppies put on top of their heads, they will now use their saddle slot in order to do this, and a command like this would let you represent that, although it seems to be currently broken. But what they did is now that the saddle is being used in order to hold the poppy, their head slot is freed up, so anything that's put in their head will now look similar to putting something on top of the player's head. So all these little Copper Golems that we made that were illustrating what would happen if you place something in their head slot have now all been changed, so they look a lot different now. Oftentimes, rather than having actual blocks on their head, now they just have the actual items on top of their head. So now it looks a lot more boring when before it looked really crazy. But if you did happen to have any Copper Golems that had poppies on their head, they did not automatically get switched over to their saddle slot, and instead they will look like this, which is now a new type of rare mob that you can get, but only in the snapshots. The chain finally got its name changed because it's no longer the only chain, as we also now have the copper chains, but it got changed to the word iron chain, even in its official name, as it says Minecraft:iron_chain. You can no longer make hanging signs with the copper chains, but now you will have to use the iron chains specifically, as well as many other visual problems being fixed. Minecraft added a whole bunch of new protocols when it comes to managing Minecraft servers. They added in a API, meaning you can use the same language that the Minecraft servers are using to do different things automatically. Like you could automatically whitelist people onto your server through your Discord, and this would be using stuff like WebSocket. But you can do a lot more with this. Now by default, this will be turned off. So in servers, there's this text file called server properties. And in here, there's a lot of things that you can adjust as a server owner. Like you can decide if people can access the nether or if people can do PvP in your server. And in here is where you can actually turn on these features, as well as some of the features that are in here, which you normally had to come in here and manually change, can now also be changed just by using the game rule command in game, which means we got a whole bunch more game rules. This includes PvP, so you can automatically turn it on and off while the server is running, allowing people to access nether portals, so you can disable those, spawning monsters, so you can stop naturally spawned ones, enabling command blocks, meaning that we can now easily turn on and off command blocks on the server. Now hopefully they don't make it so that anybody can actually use the game rule to turn command blocks on and off, as some types of rules can only be done if you have certain levels of op, and by changing to the different levels of op you can make it so people have access to certain stuff and don't have access to others, which is probably how it should be when it comes to this command block rule, but we'll have to see. Other things you can do remotely includes players, the allow list, which I think is just another name for the whitelist, also the operators, the settings, and the game rules. There's even one that allows you to send a status update every once in a while with some delay, which should allow you to kind of see what's going on with the server, even on places like your Discord. And they even provided examples on how you can perform these different things. Now, even though you could do this sort of stuff in the past, you had to use like third-party programs in order to make it work. So now this can all be done just with this new API, which will be really cool and more streamlined. I also got the testing server's code of conduct to pop up. It turns out in order to make it work, not only did we need the folder, but we need the text file within that folder to be named specifically this code-of-conduct. And my moderator Nada actually figured this out just by doing a bunch of trial and error. And this is where you would put in your rules. And then you can always check mark this so that it doesn't pop up again until the rules are changed. And then once you click acknowledge, you're back onto the server. So then when you join the server, if the rules have been changed, only then will you get this pop-up again, where you can once again acknowledge it and also turn it off. And if you guys didn't know, my testing server is open to all of you guys, the viewers, and by watching my stream you get access to different game modes on here, where we actually have hundreds of people who are already made it up to creative mode and even opt on the server. And you can learn how to join this server as well as my other servers by joining my Discord, always linked in below. You weren't able to sprint while in water in creative or in spectator mode, but now you will once again, and this has been a problem since 1.21.3. With the recent improvements when it comes to rendering entities and items, they fixed some visual problems to do with the different types of overlays, as well as 2 related crashes. Now join me over at my live stream where I will be testing out all the copper golem changes and updating my really cool auto sorter. Otherwise, check out this playlist on all the crazy rares you can collect in your world, and I'll see you guys all over there. Bye bye!